I watched a breakdown. Funny you mentioned Inglourious Bastards. I watched a breakdown of the bar scene where they go into the bar to get the information to go to the theater.
The one I watched, or the scene that I focused on, was a bar scene, but it was not that, I don't believe.
Have you never seen Inglourious Bastards?
No, I think I've told you this before.
Well, I thought you did, but it's been a while since we talked about this. You still haven't seen Inglourious Bastards?
No, I haven't seen it. I haven't.
Okay.
I have yet to sit down and watch a movie or show like that.
Okay, then I gave you a lot of details that you would know if you watched the movie and not if you just watched the scene. Was it a scene where it was a bar in a basement?
Yes.
There you go. I think we watched the same thing. It was
I think
probably
we
on
did.
the recommended on the Red Light Homies thing. We both signed into that. But I watched that and I was like, okay, when it comes to the real artsy, like appreciating the art behind filmmaking,
Mm-hmm.
I've learned something, Mr. Z.
All right.
No one gives a fuck outside of the fucking uptight lunatics that cry that you watch more Marvel movies than Martin Scorsese films. No one gives a fuck about, the phone is further back than it is right now. The camera's still, no one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck.
I agree.
And I'm not saying you shouldn't give a fuck about the filmmaking. I'm saying being so uptight about it and like, this is real filmmaking. Shut up.
Okay,
Shut the
that
fuck
thought,
up.
Okay, yeah, that thought, sure. I appreciated it because it was there, and it gives the... Is it a movie?
Inglourious Bastards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard, like, chapters mentioned in that essay, so I was confused.
Yeah, that's how the movie's put together, but it is a movie.
Okay.
Oh, no. Anyways, keep going.
It adds rewatchability to it, so you can notice the little things if you are that kind of person, I guess. I usually...
Well, even then, a casual fan just wouldn't pick up on it. I didn't pick up on any of that shit, and I think I've seen the movie twice.
I mean, I don't doubt it. It's all, like, subtle shit, so I don't doubt that it had gone missed, but it's a nice little inclusion for somebody to point out and be like, oh, that's cool.
Now, I will say, there are things like BoJack Horseman. You ever seen BoJack Horseman?
I've seen a few episodes.
The video essays explaining the motivations behind characters that aren't on the surface or like somewhat under the surface. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Things about the characters that casual fans didn't really notice and didn't get the full message of the show or movie or media or whatever. I think that's cool. I think that adds multiple layers.
Yeah.
But just like, oh, they put the phone in this position, or they put the beer in this position, they aim the camera this way, and even to a casual fan, it's like, okay, like, cool. But once they go back and rewatch it, I guarantee you they will remember the fucking the plot points this person just noted about, like, pay attention to where the phone is.
It's not something that I can say I would notice even after rewatching, but it's nice that it was pointed out to me, is what I think. It's just like, that is interesting. It's not changing the way I would watch it, but it's interesting.
I guess I'm just not an art guy. I just never have been. I'm a very casual art person.
I literally go to school for art, so
every time I see a piece of art, I think it's fucking ridiculous that a dot on a canvas gets sold for $3 million.
Okay, you're talking modern art, and that shit is fucking stupid.
art in general. If you told me to look at the Mona Lisa, I'd be like, all right, it's nice. It's pretty cool. If you told me to look at the Starry Night, I'd be like, cool. If you told me, Vincent van Gogh was one of the great, sure, got his ear cut off and is shot in the middle of the field, you know?
All right.
Or I guess he cut his own ear off. Is that getting your ear cut off? I guess it's just.
I mean, it's still getting your ear cut off. Yeah. You knew a little bit more about Van Gogh than I thought you would have.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
I mean, you're not an art guy, as you just said.
And I enjoy history. And I saw a video pop up on my recommended where it was like the mysterious death of Vincent van Gogh, and I was like, huh. And I watched it, and yeah, he just kind of went into a field and no one ever saw him again. And when they found him, he had like a gunshot to his temple. And people automatically assumed, he was a troubled artist, took himself out. But this video proposed, and a couple of people proposed,
I've seen quite a few different people saying that it wasn't himself that did that. So it's up in the air. It's like it's another conspiracy, you know? And also, I think, excuse you? I think that stuff is interesting if you find it, or it's worth it if you find it interesting. Otherwise, you're just telling some random dude, Starry Night, these clouds represent some shit or something.
Yeah, well, again, to a like casual person who's not into art, whether that's music, media, or whatever, if you study the stuff, you get to pick up on the details, you get to have fun with it. By all means, go for it. But the reason I'm bringing this up is that symbolism and that like style of shooting a movie, or the certain placements of things, or the certain tics a character has, or whatever, that is supposed to invoke emotions of the audience. From what I know about fucking art house snobs, that's what they say. It's supposed to invoke emotions from the audience. And it just doesn't. Casual...
Could you really say that if it's like, it's supposed to be a barely noticeable thing, it's supposed to be subconscious, so it's supposed to invoke the emotion. Did you feel an emotion with those scenes, or
like
the
subconsciously?
Intended? Yes. I mean, that's usually what those tiny cues are for.
With a lot of those movies, like two of the biggest Quentin Tarantino movies that people point to when it comes to art house blowing is Inglourious Bastards and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I watched both of those and I was like, cool. During the scenes where you're supposed to be thinking about this, and yet I wasn't drawn into the movie. I wasn't drawn in. Not like my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie is Django Unchained. And I think when it comes to like tension, right? That's something you're supposed to build up in a movie when you want to. Have you seen Django?
I've seen scenes. I immediately thought of the lizard one, but no, I haven't seen the whole movie.
The lizard one?
Rango. Yeah.
But Django Unchained, there's a scene where they're trying to get his wife bought from Leo's character, and he's like slowly finding them out, and you could just feel him getting a little more unhinged. You already don't trust him. And it's the first time I've ever had a visceral, like, outward reaction to a movie, because he slams her head on the table and has a hammer. And he's talking about how in the back of black people's head, there's like a part of their brain where the servitude part is the strongest. That's why they're good at being slaves. I didn't say that. That's not words coming out of my mouth. Well, that's words coming out of my mouth quoting a character in a movie. Let's not be weird about it.
Mm-hmm.
But as he's saying this, and he's like shouting and yada, yada, yada at Jamie Foxx, and I forget the fucking guy's name, he slams the hammer, and I jumped. I jumped because I thought he was about to bash that bitch's skull in. But like in terms of that, when you're talking about feeling a scene and being into it, I was really drawn into that scene. But every scene that gets sucked off in Inglourious Bastards, and every scene that gets sucked off in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, or any other fucking art house get you into the movie type shit, I know a lot of people jump down my throat saying Inglourious Bastards isn't some art house film. End your life. I don't give a fuck. I just didn't feel it.
I guess I have to watch the movie to see what I think about it. So I got to get on that.
I told you Inglourious Bastards, and you can come back next week and give your little report on it. Inglourious Bastards is a good movie, but if you cut out the first like 30, 45 minutes, if you keep the first 10 minutes and then cut out from that point to the point where you see her at the theater, or maybe even when the British officer is getting the rundown about the theater, if you cut all of that out, you will have the same war movie. If you cut out everything with the Inglorious Bastards, if you cut out all of their scenes, the movie doesn't fucking change. Outside of like a deal that the guy makes with whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
The movie doesn't fucking change.
It sounds like, I don't know.
I liked it, but it's one of the most overrated movies of all time.